Okay, so now that we've organized our pantry, now we're gonna tackle all the cabinets behind me inside the kitchen. So we're gonna use the same exact craft process to categorize, remove, assign homes, find products, and then tag and label. So the first thing you wanna do is, you don't wanna take everything out of the cabinets because, obviously we're going to tackle all the cabinets, but you want to start with the first cabinet first because it's going to be less overwhelming and it's just less overwhelming and you're going to see like immediate results right there. So in this case, we're going to start with the cabinet that's next to the refrigerator, this one, and then we're going to work our way across. I'm starting on this end because I feel like this is more important. I feel like the stuff you don't use very often should be on that end of the kitchen because the appliances are not over there. The appliances are on this side. And so that's why I want to start on this side. This should have all of the drinking glasses, the mugs, the water bottles, the wine glasses, because of its proximity to the refrigerator where all the drinks are. So what we're going to do here is we're only going to have those items. Everything else, we're going to pull it out. So to get started, I'm just going to grab my step stool. I grabbed a bigger one because the cabinets are so tall and my shorter step stool wasn't tall enough. So I'm going to grab my step stool and I'm just going to start pulling out the things that don't belong. All the drinking glasses, I'll keep them there and then we'll kind of rearrange them according to frequency of use. So like your everyday drinking glasses here, your mugs on the second shelf, your wine glasses on the third shelf, and then water bottles at the very top. Because that's the order of use that we use them inside our house. So at the same time, I'm pulling out things that we want to donate or get rid of or like things that we don't use. All right, so extra water bottles. I feel like we just have so many water bottles. We obviously don't need that much. Donate this. So things that belong in another space, like things that belong in the pantry, I'm gonna go ahead and put that in the box that belongs in another space. Okay, so I went through and I pulled out everything that was not something that you drink out of, and that took like, I feel like that didn't even take 5 minutes to do. So it's fairly simple. Now what's left here are like drinking glasses, mugs, water bottles, and wine glasses. Everything else, I put it in the like the category that it belongs to. This is now my donation pile, so I've got a lot of stuff that I pulled out that I don't use that someone else can use. And then there's a few things that belong in another space, which we will deliver at the very end of our project. So now that that cabinet is semi-complete, we're going to go over to the next cabinet and do the same thing. So like I mentioned earlier, in this cabinet we want to have all the plates, the bowls, and plates, bowls, and just like the various sizes of plates and bowls because of the proximity to the stove and the dishwasher and the sink. So I found a spice that goes in the pantry. So now that the pantry is nice and organized, this is going to have, I know exactly where this is going to go. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in, belongs in another space. At the end of the project, we'll go ahead and put it in the pantry. These are all the spices that Ed uses like probably every day when he cooks. Like I said, he does the majority of the cooking. So he likes to keep them out on the countertop because they are conveniently located next to the stove where he uses them. However, it drives me nuts to see these things on the counter because when I'm wiping down the counter, like you have to pick up every single one to wipe the crumbs and stuff. And it's just like, it's kind of like a nightmare to clean the counters. And it's kind of an eyesore looking at it. So what I'm thinking we're gonna do is put all of this, like the very few spices, like the salt, the pepper, the turmeric, the cinnamon, and the cayenne pepper. I'm gonna put it right here in this cabinet where it's still conveniently located next to the stove, yet it's not an eyesore for me to see, and it's not difficult for me to clean up the counters. So we are compromising on where things should go. So when it comes time to finding products, we are going to find a nice 10-inch Lazy Susan that's going to go right here in this cabinet. So the standard size for upper cabinets is the depth, it's 11 inches, which is standard in most kitchens. So a 10-inch Lazy Susan fits perfectly in most upper cabinets. So we'll go ahead and get that, and I'm going to add that to my to-do list so I remember that that's what goes there. All right. Now, something else here, you can see that this is a really tall cabinet, like the shelf, the bottom shelf to the top shelf is really tall. So what you can do is you can, if you have adjustable shelves, you can always take the shelf off, move the pegs lower, and then you're just going to maximize your space here. Or another option is to get one of the double shelf organizers that will kind of create a second shelf in the middle of this big shelf. I'm thinking that's probably what we're going to do, and we'll separate the big plates from the small plates, and then space will be maximized. So I'm going to grab my to-do list and add that item to my list also. Okay, so all these plates and bowls that are on the very top of the cabinet were not being used because we are switching to different plates and bowls and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in the donation pile because there's really nothing wrong with them and they can easily be reused. Okay, so now that I took out the glasses that were kind of just like shoved inside this cabinet, now that they have a home inside this cabinet, I'm going to go ahead and put these away inside here. Just by doing a little bit of sorting. Like, I think it's only been like 10, maybe 15 minutes. Like, that is not a lot of time to do this. You can see that it just doesn't take that much time. All right, so moved that, There's 2 more glasses here. And then what we're gonna do is we are gonna move to the upper cabinet right there and pull out the things that don't belong. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, you don't want to keep your spices and your oils and vinegars above your stove or oven because the heat is going to rise and the stuff is going to go bad a lot faster than it would have gone if it was just properly stored inside of your pantry or in another cabinet inside your kitchen. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out the spices, and now that our spices have a home in the pantry, it's going to be super simple to put them away. So instead of keeping your spices and your oils and vinegars above there, you can keep stuff that you don't use very often. Like if you have a hand mixer you don't use very often, that's a great place to store it because it's up high, it's out of the way. Or maybe you have a like a crock pot or an ice cream maker, or any of those appliances that they're only used like once a month or every other month. That's just a great place to keep them. Okay, so in this cabinet up here, I feel like this is a great place. Like, just looking at the cabinet, I feel like there's a lot of serving dishes, and I feel like this is the perfect place for serving dishes because it's it's still next to the stove, so you can transfer things to a serving dish, but it's kind of out of the way, not taking up your prime real estate space of where your plates and your glasses are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the serving dishes in here. I'm just going to pull out everything that doesn't really fit, like these drink koozies, the oven mitts, this hand mixer, which I'm going to put this in the cabinet above the microwave because this isn't used very often. So that can go up there. And then there's some baking pans, which these should go in the lower cabinet. So I'm going to take those down. We'll put them there in a second. Dish towels. Now, I don't know if these are clean or dirty, so I'm going to go ahead and put them in the laundry to make sure that they're clean when I put them away. So I will take those upstairs after I finish decluttering. All right, another baking pan. And then everything else is really serving related. So it's kind of like a puzzle. You're trying to figure out where everything should go. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the last cabinet on this side and see what we have. Okay, so in this cabinet, there's a lot of randomness going on. There's a drink koozie. This doesn't belong here. There is a lid to Tupperware, which Tupperware we can put on the lower cabinet, so I'm going to take that out. There's more Tupperware here, so I'm going to actually pull that out. Foil, bags. This is kind of everywhere. We found some in the pantry. What we need to do is decide where it's going to go, like where all the stuff is going to live. So for now, I'm just going to pull it out, and then we'll make a decision once we get to organizing the drawers. The drawers are a great place to organize all these things because they're just the right size, and yeah, they're just the right size. So they fit nicely. Okay, so these were purchased because they're just so cute and they're just so colorful, and they look like they're fun to drink out of. But when it comes to reality, nobody actually uses them. So in a way, they're just taking up space and they're not being used. Yes, they're cute, and yes, there was money spent on them, but if they're not being used and they're just wasting space, I'm going to give them to somebody who can use them and can enjoy them, since I'm not enjoying them. So I'm going to put them in my donation pile. So I took out things that didn't really fit into this cabinet, and I feel like this cabinet is just so empty right now, but like I said before, it's okay to have empty space. You don't have to fill every shelf or every cabinet or drawer you have. Like I said, if more things come in, then we have space. But for now, I'm just going to leave it as is. It just has like vases, and there's some growlers and a cocktail shaker. And really, that's it. There's Mojo's treats, which we need to buy treats, so I'm going to add that to my to-do list. And there's a little grill, what's it called? One of those things you put on the grill, you put vegetables inside. So the our deck is right next, like, to the left of me, so that's just a good place for it because it's convenient. Okay, so that is done for now, and this cabinet is done for now. Let's work on the drawers that are right here and put away the stuff that we kind of took out and doesn't have a home just yet. But we're actually making great progress. Like, it's really has not taken us that long. Okay, so let's start with the drawers on this side. So I really don't like how the silverware is over here. It's not near the dishwasher. It's not near the plates and stuff when you're setting the table. So I want to go ahead and move these to the drawer on the other side of the kitchen because I feel like it just makes more sense and it's more functional on that side. So I'm just going to pick it up and I'm just going to put it over here for now, and we're going to decide what's going to go inside of this drawer. So I kind of like the plastic wrap and the foil and stuff inside here because it's kind of like it's out of the way, and it's just a nice big drawer for the stuff. So I'm just going to see how well it fits. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tear off all of these covers just like that, so it's nice and easy to grab a plastic bag when you are putting leftovers away. All right, so I found the wax paper. Now, we don't really use wax paper that often, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in the back of the drawer. Just like that. Okay, now the drawer opens and closes and everything is all together, just like that. In this drawer right here, let's see what we have. So there are all types of dish towels. Now, the fact that nothing was folded, it was just kind of shoved in here, tells me that it might not be clean. So I'm going to take out the ones that weren't folded and I'm going to put them in the laundry pile down there, and then I'm going to wash them at the end of our organizing session, and then I'll fold them and I'll put them back here because I feel like this is the best place for dish towels because it's next to the sink, it's next to the stove, and I just feel like it's a good place. So we are going to kind of nicely fold the towels. There's actually only one towel. Well, there's two. Just fold them in quarters. So here are two oven mitts. I feel like this is a great place to put them. So I'm going to put them in here. Another dish towel, which I'm not sure if it's clean or not, so I'm going to go ahead and just put it in the laundry pile right there. And then we're ready to move on to our next drawer. So on these two drawers, on this side, let's see what we have. All right, this drawer, first off, it looks like it needs to be cleaned. So we're going to take everything out and I'm going to wipe down the drawer. And I feel like this drawer over here has the same thing. It has kitchen utensils and gadgets. So what we need to do is we need to go through all these kitchen gadgets and figure out what we need to keep and what we need to set aside. At the same time, we need to sort it in a way that is going to just like combine like with like. So the first thing I'm going to do is just pull all these out and put them on top of the counter. And then I'm going to wipe down the drawer. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is put in our everyday silverware because I feel like this is the best spot for it. So I'm gonna put it in this corner right here, and then next to it we'll put some of the kitchen utensils and gadgets. All right, so I'm just gonna go through and pick out the ones that we do use and just make sure that we're not keeping anything that we don't use that's just taking up space. Okay, so I went ahead and I pulled everything out of this drawer and I sorted everything in this drawer to the things that we use every single day or we use on a frequent basis. So all those items are right here. So what I'm going to do next is clean out or wipe down this drawer, and then we'll put all the things that we don't use very often back into this drawer. So I went ahead, I cleaned the drawer and I put everything back in, and now I have everything by category of things we use, the things we don't really use. Then I might do another sort depending upon if I get some kind of organizer to divide up the space a little more. What I'm thinking to do is do like a drawer divider, maybe like 2 of them in place, and then sort them by like smaller gadgets, like these smaller, yeah, they're just like smaller gadgets versus some of the serving utensils. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but I feel like drawer dividers will just work nicely and keep things sorted. And then on this side, what I think I'll do is I'll put a drawer divider next to the silverware to keep everything sorted and in place. So that didn't take very long. Maybe took like 10 minutes, not very much time. And now everything is accessible, and the silverware is next to the stove, next to the dishwasher, and it's just easier to set the table because the plates are up here. So yeah, that's the last 2 drawers inside of the kitchen. And now we're just going to work on clearing some of the stuff that's on top of the counters that we pulled out from the cabinets that didn't belong and put them in its place. Okay, so we have categorized, we've removed, and we've assigned homes to everything inside of our kitchen cabinets. And you can just see it's a drastic difference. And this really only took like 1 hour, if that, maybe like even 45 minutes to pull things out, shuffle things around, remove items, and you can just see there's a big difference. We cleared the countertops. We only left the things that are actually used on a daily basis, like the coffee maker, the fruit bowl, the toaster. On this side, the blender and the paper towels, and that's it. There's no miscellaneous items that were just like thrown on the countertop. Everything has a home now. So now that everything is in place, the last step, or the second to last step, is to find products. So I wrote down only 2 products that we need. One of them is a 10-inch Lazy Susan for the spices and the oils next to the stove. And then the second thing is a double shelf, so we can add in like kind of like a second shelf for the plates, so we can divide that up nicely. And maybe we can even use a second one where the bowls are on the second shelf right there. We'll have to measure and see. And then the last step is to tag and label all of your shelves and your cabinets. Now this step I feel like you can kind of skip when it comes to kitchen cabinets. Like I feel like we're gonna skip it right now. If you feel like you need labels, by all means go ahead and label. The best labels to use if you're labeling like standard wooden shelves in your cabinets are those wood ticket labels that I showed you guys earlier in the pantry video. They just clip on to the shelf really nicely right in the very front, and then you can just label the front. So in this video we'll skip that step, but the last step is to find products and then put them in place.